welcome to this new video. I still found some footage of the outside world, so I figured it would be nice to look at some plants again. Oh gosh, I miss the green. Spring is very slow this year. We still had snow this week. Can you believe it? And it's the last week of April. That's funny. I mean, funny for no one, I guess. Anyways, I love making wallpapers to refresh the look on my phone, so I thought it'd be nice to try it with traditional paints this time and show you the whole process. A few videos ago, I painted these happy planters here to try this new paper I had grabbed, and to practice gouache a little bit more. And I was planning to paint some other little things on the rest of the page, so then I could make a wallpaper with those. I ended up not doing it in that video, but here I am now to continue my endeavor. Actually, if I may say a little something, it's funny how we tend to feel bad for not going 100% with the original plan, or we consider failing when we don't finish it completely. But I believe it's very healthy to try to be nice to our own selves and just pick it up again. Whenever I'd catch myself not following up with my plans, I would feel so guilty and feel like I don't finish what I start. But now I'm much more chill, like it's okay, like no one's judging you, let's just pick it up again. The world hasn't ended yet, the sun will shine again tomorrow, so just grab your paints and get back to it. And I have no idea if that was inspiring or scary. I don't know why I had to mix the world ending with an optimistic thought. Especially given the current world circumstances. I'm sorry. But I swear this changes everything. Let's try not to judge all the time whatever we don't do, because we can always do it instead of thinking badly about it. I know it sounds kind of silly, but it really makes a difference. And of course, it's easier said than done. But I don't know why we spend so much energy putting ourselves down with thoughts like these. It brings nothing good. If we chose to spend like a third of that energy just to sit down and actually start painting, life would be so much easier. But I guess that's the whole hardship of learning something. I guess that's part of the journey of practicing and focusing on getting better at something. It's really not only the technical side, it's all about understanding what goes on in our minds before, during, and after we get to work. And trying to understand how we can channel our mental efforts. Whoa, that sounded kinda deep. I just love talking about motivation and all of this. I already wrote a really long series of blog posts, but I guess it's just my thing to keep coming back to it. Anyways, here I am back to playing with gouache. I'm using leftovers from the colors I used for another video where I paint butterflies, and I really like using the word leftovers for that. It sounds funny, huh? No? Just me? Okay, let's move on. I really love these colors. I think they're my official color palette now. And I still hate this paper. I'm using Fabriano Studio watercolor paper on hot pressed, and it's really not for me. I guess once you start using 100% cotton paper, you kind of become more picky and used to the beautiful way the colors flow and the resistance of high quality paper texture. This one is like 25% cotton and it's super smooth. I'm gonna keep trying to use it to study and hope I won't be mad at it too much. I mean, it's paper. I'm not going anywhere being mad at paper. The only worst thing would be being mad at a door. Okay, I'll stop. What I love about gouache is that the coverage may be super uneven, but the result is still super cute. For example, when we use watercolors and we lay a random wash without thinking too much, most of the time it ends up looking weird or too messy. But with gouache, it's like the messiness is quite subtle. I don't mind it at all. And by the way, I'm loving how easy it is to just reactivate these colors and still enjoy all of them. I'm not ready to try acrylic gouache and just lose all of this flexibility. I'm saying this because I actually have bought some and I still haven't tried them. And every time I think about it, it breaks my heart a little bit that I'll have to be really careful. Especially because they're way more expensive. When I need another color just for small details, or when I'm painting something small in general, I just grab this palette I made. I mean, I didn't make it, I just assembled it. I got the empty little half pans and empty palette from the art store and just poured a bit of paint from the tubes and let it dry for a day or so, I think. Since I probably won't be making giant quantities of every single color I make, I like having my go-to palette ready to use with the giant blobs on the side, so I can always add on smaller mixes as I go. By the way, this palette I'm using is the best thing ever. I just bought a picture frame from the dollar store and separated the glass part, and it's perfect. I tried a few other things before. You can see in the other videos I tried using a ceramic plate, a lid from a plastic container, and finally this glass thingy, which is definitely my favorite. Maybe I can also try taping a gray paper underneath it to act as a neutral tone, so I'll lose the transparency and also see better my colors. Maybe you see that in my future videos. It was kind of curious to paint these lines and details. I was very annoyed at how they don't have perfectly symmetrical width, to the point I just wanted to give up and just not paint them. But then, when I threw them in Photoshop, they were so small that we can barely see how wonky they actually are. It's like it only becomes a thing when you look super close or zoom in a lot. Which is kind of what we tend to do a lot in Photoshop. I wonder if anybody else feels annoyed by that too. I am slowly trying to practice to embrace the wonkiness and try to have more relaxed lines, so maybe I can do more videos like talking about how I'm doing to try to practice that and try to make it a habit for me. But I'm still trying, I'm still learning, so it will come. So I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I guess that's nice to have like the journey of discovering how to get to another point in your style. And I think it'd be interesting to kind of document the whole thing. And then I would be able to look back at my videos and see the whole progression of lines. I don't know, maybe I could do that. color pencils are so soft and smooth that every time I try to lay down really small details, it always breaks and it kind of like smudges everything, so you see me cleaning a lot. My paper is super dirty, by the way. I don't know what happens when I put it away. I think I'm gonna start putting cameras around to check who's dirty in my paper overnight. So once I'm done with the painting, I'll scan it and try to match the colors to the original. That is usually tweaking the levels and saturation. And the whole fun of making the pattern is arranging our elements and playing around with it, so that's what we're gonna do now. After I get rid of all the weird little dots of I don't even know what, I'll create another square document to start my layout. I like to make a big file with flexible resolution that I can use either on screens or printing, and then I'll downsize it later on to have a smaller file as well. So I begin with a 200 by 200 pixel document, 300 dpi, and start placing all my little plants. I'll drag them one by one into the other document, transform each one into a smart object, and then resize. When we turn them into a smart object, if I resize really small and then want to go back to a bigger size, it won't be pixelated and it won't lose its quality. So I'll start with my favorite ones and then make them bigger so they stand out. Then I'll play around with the rest and add smaller little details. Once I have everything in my square, it's time to check how it wraps around itself, to make sure it's seamless. I go to Filter, Other, Offset. Then I'll begin with the horizontal axis, setting it to half of my canvas, which in this case will be 1000 pixels. As the thing itself says, this will shift my image 1000 pixels to the right while it repeats itself. Now I can see that there are some weird blank spaces, and that's exactly what we want to fix. Now going back to the offset filter, I'll set the horizontal axis back to 0, and now let's put 1000 pixels to the vertical axis. Some more rearranging, then I'll reset everything to 0. Now I want this to be the pattern to my next phone wallpaper, so I'll resize my image to 300 by 300 pixels. Next, I go to Edit, Define Pattern, give it a cute name, and hit OK. Now I'll create another document the size of my phone, Full HD 1920 by 1080 pixels, create a new layer, go to Edit, Fill, and choose my pattern from this drop-down menu. There you go. Sometimes I'll create a bigger document like letter size and drag it back to the screen size one, so then I can play around however I want. If it's pixelated, it's because we're playing still with the smaller document. So I'll save another pattern with the higher DPI file from before. That's all. Now I just send myself the file and look at my happy flower all day. If you want to grab this wallpaper for your phone or some others I have made before, I'm gonna put a link in the description for you. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!